Twitch ads. All right. Listen to a very long Twitch ad to see the pre-show here.
I was moving my own mouth.
I see that. This is what the pre-show is for. You gotta make sure that thing's working.
It's just like when you do that shit to your cats, like you pull down their little lips and make them talk, and they're like, I fucking hate you. Why the fuck are you doing this to me? Ow. It hurts me. What's up, everybody? What's going on? Y'all got your monsters? You ready to stay up for the next 3 to 4 hours?
Hello, everybody. Yes, how are levels? I have a level. Fist has a level.
I always make the blowjob joke with the mic, and then I get like cat hair on me and in me.
Testing levels is a very bad time for that joke.
How are my levels?
We got music going too, so feedback for levels. We would like to hear how we balance against the music as well, please. Pre-show, guys!
You guys ever have like one of these fake nose ring things and you just like stick them in and you're like, oh my god, I'm so fucking edgy?
I don't, but I feel like I would. Ooh, lip ring.
This is
so
cool,
emo.
right? At the side. What's going on? One time my friend took out her deal, one of these, and she squirt water out of her like hole. I was like, you're fucking gross. That's the kind of thing you can say to your friend, you know?
Oh, you're fucking... Crap.
Because it was like high school. And she turns to me and she's like...
Oh, you froze for a second. You lost the first part of that.
What?
Yeah. One time you were what?
One time, it was like high school. I think I'm still frozen? No.
You good?
We're good. I'm a little behind. Anyway, it was in high school. It was in high school, and I was with my friend. Her name's Catherine. We've been friends for like, you have like those friends who you've been friends with since like before you can remember when you became friends. So it's just sort of like, you are in my life no matter what, and I can say anything to you no matter what, and it's all cool. She turns to me and she's like, Jess, because that's my real name, I'd still be your friend if you had an enlarged clitoris. And I'm like, the fuck? It's nice though.
I also would still be your friend if that were the case. For the record.
Don't judge me, you piece of shit.
That was pretty much the opposite of judging, but okay.
I think it's nice when your friends don't discriminate you because of things you can't have any control over, you know?
Yeah. I mean, I feel like if you had a friend who did discriminate against you for any of that kind of shit, they wouldn't be a very good friend. Not that you wouldn't still have that friend, because a lot of people have a lot of fucking toxic people around them they shouldn't. Which sounds like something we should do a separate episode about.
Toxic people?
Like, we did like I feel like we did one or maybe even two about relationships, but we should like focus on friendships. Or maybe we tread on that too much. Either way, it's an interesting topic.
We talked about having no friends.
Okay.
Remember?
Yeah.
I'm just gonna drink this Purell now to make myself germ-free.
Don't do that. That's not how this works. That's not how any of this works.
It's that point in the show where Thys runs out of interesting things to say, so she starts using her things on her desk as props. Oh, a bottle of water? How's this funny? Just kidding. I have lots of things to say. Tonight we're talking about how difficult it is to love your own bod. Because it's hard.
Sure is. That's why it's a good topic.
Oh yeah.
I do love it a little bit more when it's hard.
If I had a rockin' hard body, I'd be jamming all day long. I don't know what I do.
That almost sounds like song lyrics or something.
If I had a rockin' hard body, I'd be jamming all day long. Probably on some sort of sweaty elliptical machine. What's that one that's got like the things you pull down?
The Soloflex?
Something like that.
The Bowflex.
Bowflex, that's what I'm thinking of. Yeah, I'd be jamming all day long on my goddamn Bowflex. Be like, "What's up, bitches? Come to my house so I can continue Bowflexing while you guys talk to me."
Continue Bowflexing. What's up, guys? You here for some games? Woo!
This is a fucking game.
You
That's
just like stare at him, keep pumping iron.
That's what I think that I have to start. Like, I have to change my lifestyle in order to get like a rockin' hard bod. I gotta submit to the Bowflex lifestyle.
Like the kind of lifestyle that's in the B-roll in the in those big infomercials about it, right?
Yes, I have to be like Susan, 46, who's like, I spent my whole life eating Twinkies, and I really didn't know what to do about it. And then I saw this infomercial for the Bowflex, and then I was on that motherfucker like 9 times a day, and I've got this rockin' hot bod, and I'm just jamming it all day in my Bowflex. I've lost 25 pounds. You're like, hot damn, Susan or Karen or whatever her fucking name
Damn
was.
it, Karen.
She's like really tanned all of a sudden, like really
Yeah,
tan.
because that goes with it. Okay, let's go to our cover screen for the start of the show. Welcome back, ladies and gents, ladies and germs. This is episode 47, and we're here on a Friday night with all you nerds, because that's what we like to do. How you doing, Fist?
Hello, how are you?
I'm all right. How are you?
I'm fine, thanks. I don't know. Hello, hi everybody. This isn't the Lagging Balls podcast. This is absolutely not the Lagging Balls podcast. This is the LBS. It's completely different. It's something completely different entirely. We never talk about Blizzard games on this stream because we need to save all of that for the Lagging Balls proper podcast, which comes out on the weekend, which is not video at all.
Right.
It's only audio.
Listen to the podcasts on here, guys. This is where the podcasts go.
Right. I'm just stressing this because like I'm getting a lot of people coming up to me or messaging me and be like, "Oh, I really love your podcast. I love the one about all the fetishes that you guys looked up," or the one where you talk about not having any friends. And I'm like, I mean, yeah, that could be an LB episode. But I'm pretty sure.
Hey, that's the problem. Is these fucking things could be either.
Yeah.
It is a Blizzard Games podcast, but we skew
We
a lot.
So the backstory on the LBS is Thorn quite rightly asked, like, why don't we do Lagging Balls with a camera on stream like so many other podcasters do? Which, that's kind of the wave of the future. That's kind of where podcasts are going, and that's fine. It's just that when I am on Lagging Balls, I don't look good, and I don't feel good about the way I look, but I don't want to be concentrating on that the whole time. Like when I'm doing the LBS, there's a part of me that can't stop making sure that I don't look ugly or dumb, And when I do LB, like I'm screaming and making mistakes, and, and I don't look great, and I don't want to like put on makeup and hair to, talk about the shit that I love. I just want to, devote all of my attention to that. So we made a compromise. We would do the LBS so we can hang out with you guys, so you guys can gaze upon us as you will. But in order to do a weekly stream and a weekly podcast, we had to make sure that we don't talk about the same things. So that's why we always talk about random bullshit. So that's my roundabout segue into talking about like body image, I guess. It just like the way I feel about myself prevents me from giving everything I've got to the LB podcast. Like when I'm hanging out here with you guys, I feel like, you know, I put on some makeup, I put on a nice shirt, usually pants, and I'm hanging out with you guys and it's all good. But I'm not trying to deliver you guys a product, you know, like LB is. Like I fear that like if I was worried about people staring at me while I was recording Lagging Balls, it would suck when you guys listen to it later, or when people who didn't catch the stream listen to it on a Monday morning on their commute and they'd be like, why isn't this screaming? Why isn't she funny? Sucks. So
why don't you just scream on here more often? Tonight we're talking about body image, right? You can scream about that a bunch.
No.
Fair. Not a very screamy topic. So thank you for clarifying about the formats of the show with this. That's a big thing. We've got a lot of confusion about that. You know, it's cross-branded, so I can see where the confusion comes from. But you know, podcasts are the thing that you download before you go somewhere, or you stream as you go, usually from your phone. I think most people play it from their phone. I use my Zune, of course.
You don't have a Zune.
I use my my iPad. What was the fucking thing that was the Apple product that was only for music?
Like iPod Shuffle or something?
Yeah.
My dad got one of those and he was so fucking stoked on it. And it was like this teeny little square. He's like, look, and I'm like, the fuck is that?
I can put 15 whole songs on here.
I can put that thing up my fucking nose.
Yeah, because the iPod was the full-size one, and those were like, they were a little sizable. They got a little big, especially because you had to buy one of those fucking covers for it, like you do with your phones, which all the time makes everything bigger. All the time makes everything bigger.
What are you? I don't understand what you're saying anymore.
The podcast.
Neither do you. One time my dad put on a jacket and I heard a crinkling noise. I'm like, Dad, do you have chocolate? And he's like, yes, I do actually. He pulled out like a little like lint, like one of those little ball things.
I knew it.
Anyway, so to sort of dive into tonight's topic via that comment, I was a fat kid. You know, I went through like random stages of, you know, growth spurts and stuff where I wasn't overweight, but for the most part, I was quite overweight. And I didn't really know that I was until people started making fun of me for it. And so I grew up in a really small town in Ontario, Canada. And just to give like an idea of how small it is, like my elementary school grade from like kindergarten to grade 8, it was basically the same 20 people from kindergarten to grade 8. And then since we had a bunch of elementary schools, but there was 2 major high schools in town, and most of the people that I went to elementary school with went to the same high school as well. So it's these people, it's the same people for like over a decade of my life.
Oh yeah.
And the thing is, like, for whatever reason, I guess everybody was just like really lucky or something, but for whatever reason, I was the only kid who was overweight. Nobody else was. Nobody. Just me. And I didn't know until around grade 3 when they started making fun of me for it. And I remember...
Kids are savage as fuck.
You know, but like, you know...
Honesty, really. They just don't even necessarily have the social norms established yet to know that they shouldn't say these things that are hurtful.
Sure. So, whatever. I remember the first time somebody called me that, oh my God, it was in like the girls' change room, grade 3, at the pool. And somebody like laughed at me and said, oh my God, Jessica's fat. Like really loud, and to everybody in the whole room. And I was like, I'm what? I'm a what? A wizard, Harry. But you know, I had some time to let that stew for a few hours, and then when I got home,
how did you react to it at the moment?
I don't remember. I just remember like staring at the girl who said it, and then kind of like trying to think about it. I'm just like, oh, I am. Okay, this is bad. Didn't realize. Okay, this is bad. I'm
not something you'd ever thought about.
No, I didn't have to. But so I went home and like I'm sure some of you can relate. I was the type of kid who like anytime anything ever went wrong ever, like in my head or otherwise, I had to tell my mom about it. But I couldn't tell her what they said because I was so ashamed of it. So I had to literally write it down on a piece of paper and hand it to her. Like I couldn't even say it, you know? So it was just like yeah, it's fine now. It's all fine now.
I know, but it's still sad.
You go through it. But so that just sort of like started my awareness of myself, I guess. And you know, that didn't get any better. And like the worst part was like nobody was really telling me what to do about it. I was never really taught how to eat properly. I was never really taught to exercise, you know, like as a normal kid, I was put into a bunch of different activities, like after school activities and sports and things like that. But I wasn't good at it, you know?
T-sports?
Yeah, T-sports. Like I tried the canoe club, I tried Highland dancing, I tried rhythmic gymnastics, etc., etc.
Wow.
I was always a gamer, you know, like I wanted to stay home and play games or play bass or whatever, but I didn't want to go out and move. Like moving was not like a cool thing. Like I remember I got these like roller skates, not roller blades, roller skates, and I was like stoked on them, and I used them for like a day, and I was like, I'm tired.
Yeah.
But yeah, I don't know. Did you guys ever play that game 7-Up where everybody puts like their heads down on the desk in class and then somebody goes around
heads up 7-Up.
Yeah, or what? Okay, so there's like two people. I don't remember how the game works, but like it came down to me and somebody else standing at the front of the class. It was me, Jessica, and the other Jessica, because there's always more Jessicas, because Jessica's like the fucking name of everybody and their dog. So there's me, Jessica, and then there was Jessica McNeil, and she was shorter and skinnier than me. Most people were. And I remember somebody like raised their hand to like guess who the person was, and the teacher's like, okay, who do you think it is? And the person's like, it's Jessica. And she's like, lol, which one? She didn't actually say lol. And then this kid says, the big one.
Ugh.
Yeah, and like you fucking remember those things, right?
Yeah.
It sucks. And like for me, like obviously I have massive boobs and that didn't help any, you know? And like when you're a kid or like a tween or a teen growing up, like you don't really know what to do about it. Like nobody's saying like you really should go to like a super expensive bra store and get somebody to like fit you and make sure you look better and just like support you properly. So I don't know, like it didn't get better for a long time. And mostly because I think since I didn't really know what to do about it, I just kind of tried to deal with it, I guess.
Yeah.
But I just always felt uncomfortable. But that was my experience as a kid. What about you, Thorn? Were you the fat kid?
I went through phases. So I and my external input was the same way that I ever had any realization about that. I don't think mine was until a little later. So my parents were military. We moved all around, and so I lived in a variety of different places, and I wasn't in too many places for too long. And I know that there are some relatively common periods of time throughout things like elementary school and stuff like that, where like there are the times that are like the most savage of the savage. There's the innocent, like more innocent, haven't yet been exposed to it kind of stuff, like the closer to the third grade stuff that you were talking about. Not that that wasn't still hurtful, of course. I just mean, you know, that people are just kind of starting to realize that if they say something like that, that it's hurtful, or that people might react or might hurt their feelings and that sort of thing. You're only just, you know, experiencing that stuff for the first time, and sometimes somebody else has to be the one to tell you, don't say that, that's going to hurt their feelings, or they have to see you cry as the input that was a bad thing that hurt someone, you know? And then there's the area of your life in elementary school, grade school, where you grow up enough to just be a fucking piece of shit asshole. That's called middle school. And so right around middle school, when pretty much every other kid is a piece of shit, and kids are just like pushing the boundaries and just being jerks, kind of like going way overboard and being way over dramatic. I'm trying to think back. I was picked on for, I had like a racist run-in in 3rd grade, which is a story for another time, or I might have even actually already told that story, but I don't recall that having anything to do with weight. So I think as a baby, like as an infant and toddler, I was a little fat ass. I was like little photos of me in like a diaper running around looking like a fucking sumo wrestler, because I was, Pacific Islander and little fat kid, so little fat baby. But that was cute. Like that was like the young kid, chubby cute. And then I think what happened was like earlier on in things, I grew up kind of relatively normal, and then I think it was right around middle school or so I started to kind of fill out, and then I got kind of chubby. I didn't get fat, I just got chubby. And it wasn't until 5th grade when I was doing that thing. I don't know how many of you have done this, but I did the same stupid fucking shit that a lot of people did, which was, I like this girl, so I'm gonna tell her friend that I like her. You know that thing?
It's the safe way to do it.
Yeah.
Just in case.
The feel it out kind of thing, and the way to tell her without telling her directly, because you know that telling her friend means it's absolutely gonna get back to her, right? So her friend was this girl that I was telling that I was interested in, this other girl. I don't even remember their names at this point. And I said something about how I liked this girl, and she's like, "Oh, yeah, I don't think that that's gonna work out," or something along those lines. I was like, "Why?" And she's like, "Well, you're really chubby."
Oh,
And I was like,
Jesus.
"Oh." And no, I didn't react in a funny way at all. Instead, I just heard that it was, I felt like it was devastating, because it was kind of like you were mentioning in terms of like the realization. I certainly hadn't been thinking in those terms either, and like by 5th grade, like your bodies haven't really developed very much at that point. I don't make it sound like she was terrible about it. I feel like, looking back on it, and I'm not sure if I realized this at the time, looking back on it, I feel like she tried to kind of, it's almost like she was kind of like trying to let me down easy and like let me know that this is like, you're viewed as the chubby kid. You're not really viewed like an attractive guy in the class kind of thing. And then, so like that, I think what happened as a result was I actually started, that was right toward the summer, and I started like working the fuck out.
Ooh, like
I started doing like sit-ups every day and push-ups every day, and that's all I mean. It's just like
Rocky 5 plus Rocky 2 equals
exactly
Rocky 7, Adrian's Revenge.
Exactly. So by like, it got a little bit better, but not by very much, because I also had some of the same issues. My mom didn't cook, and it's not her fault by any means. She didn't have that training either, right? So she didn't have that ingrained in her. So she ate badly, and therefore I ate badly, and that's a very much rooted in your upbringing. In a big way, like a scientifically proven way. How much that kind of input from your parents and or your surroundings during those formative years have a huge impact on what your habits are.
Absolutely. Like, I was babysitting my uncle's kids once. I don't do kids. It's not good. But they're my cousins, so I tried. And one of them comes up to me. They're all skinny and athletic, and she's like, "Can I please have a pear out of the refrigerator?" And I'm like, a pear? Like, you could fucking eat that outside. Like, like a pear? Like, really? Like, when I was a kid, it was more like, I'm gonna go and steal like a handful of cheese strings and eat them in my room. Or I remember like a specific time where I stole like a bucket of KFC gravy. This is back before I was vegan, obviously. A bucket of KFC gravy, and I stole it, and I just like drank it like behind some, I don't know, debris. I don't remember where I was.
Yeah.
But like, I wish my parents had just been like, "Hey, fruit is nature's candy. we're gonna fucking brainwash you into that, and then because back in the day it's like, hey, you did a good job, here's a chocolate bar, or hey, here's a treat, here's some pizza and soda, or guess what, we're gonna go get ice cream, and those things are fine, but it's like that kind of food was like, it was put on a pedestal, like it was like, you get a pizza, you're fucking partying right now. Like, you want to go get a fucking burger, that's a party time,
What's
like,
better than a pizza party?
Fucking pizza party,
What's fucking
right?
better than a pizza party? As a kid, that's the pinnacle of the greatest thing that could happen.
Nothing. Like,
Remember, did you guys have the book club, the Scholastic Book Club?
Fuck yeah, the Scholastic Book Fair.
Did you guys have that? So the fair was the one thing, but the ongoing program where like your whole class would track how many books everybody's reading or whatever, and then they keep track. And when your class gets to a certain level, then you fucking get a pizza party.
Mm-hmm.
Because what's better than a goddamn pizza party?
Nope.
So pedestal,
Fucking nothing.
right? For real.
Yeah, so I don't know, like, I didn't realize until I moved out on my own that I had literally no idea how to keep myself alive, And at that point, I was mostly an adult, so I'm like, all right, it's time to eat candy and play WoW, and that's it, And I was making dinner, and I was making it, the way my parents used to do. So there'd be like some sort of giant, like I was vegan at that point, so it'd be like a big old vegan chicken burger with the bun and with the sauce, and then there'd be like a big thing of like instant mashed potatoes on the side, and then there'd be like pasta, and it was just like, and like nothing is wrong with these things, of course, but like I didn't know anything about portions. I didn't know what I was putting in me, like I didn't, and I just want to make it clear, like, I'm not advocating like counting calories or, not eating the things that you love or whatever, but like I didn't know how to stop, like I'd eat dinner and then I'd fucking follow that up with like one of those like family packs of like peanut M&Ms or whatever, or like fucking Twizzlers. Like I'd go ham. And like, since gaming was like my major, I don't know, way of life, just like everything that I did, there was always like snack, must play games, must snack, must play games at the same time, all of the time.
Yeah.
And I don't know, like I grew up as a grazer. Like my family, we just kind of ate whenever. We didn't really eat together. At some point that all stopped. And then it got to the point where my mom would like buy us, like there was 3 of us. So like me, she, and my brother would just eat large bags of chips as like, most of what we would eat that day. So we'd have like our own like preferred flavor and brand of chip, and she'd bring it home, and it'd be like, yeah, now I've got fucking Miss Vicky's all day long.
Hell yeah.
But yeah, and I don't know, like it got out of control, and I didn't start really doing anything about it until about 7 years ago, I think, was when I first started figuring that I should do something about it finally. And that wasn't easy. I had this like broke ass, old ass 80s, and I'm not even joking, like 80s, what are those things called? What was the thing that you walk on?
A treadmill?
Treadmill, that's it, yeah. And I had one of those in like the spare room upstairs, and I just sort of like started walking on it one day. I don't know why. And I started walking on it and walking on it and walking on it. And I was working this full-time job at the time and playing WoW full-time as I do. And I was walking to and from my job. And none of this I was doing so much on purpose as I was just sort of doing it. And then I dropped a ton of weight. And I was like, oh, okay, cool. So working out actually does work. And that's the thing, it's like, since working out doesn't work immediately, and it works in all sorts of different ways and all sorts of different timelines with all of these variables in your life, it's almost like until you see a giant improvement or a giant change, it's almost like it's not fucking working, and it fucking sucks because you fucking want to do it, Like, I don't fucking want to go on the fucking treadmill. I want to go and fucking farm in Azeroth for 12 hours today. Like, that's what I would like to do. And like I don't fucking like being sweaty. I don't like looking gross. I don't like the feeling of like pushing my body to its limits. I don't like that. I don't like
Yeah.
going to a gym and people watching me be gross and sweaty. I don't like going to the gym and people watching me like do shit wrong or like try to figure out a stupid machine that I don't get.
Yeah.
You know, I don't, you know, like the only exercise that I think is cool is swimming because like you can sweat and it doesn't matter because you're already wet.
And it's fun.
And it's fun. But
But
just all
side
that
note,
shit.
we put a poll in the chat, so if you are listening but not necessarily looking, there is a poll with a link in the chat about how you cook. We're just curious how you guys go about doing it, and it's really just the options are really about, do you cook for yourself? It's not details, it's do you cook for yourself? Does someone else cook for you? Is it a parent? Is it a roommate? That sort of thing. Just curious, so we could bring that back up in a minute. But exercise, like there's a really great comment here in chat by Chris81. Weight issues are multifactorial. Genetics, dietary habits, lifestyle, exercise. Parents can have a big influence in the younger ages, and we appreciate that, Chris. That Chris has some background in this, so that's I appreciate you bringing that up. That's part of what we talked about before in terms of the parental influence. But there's absolutely those pieces. Genetics, like you can see that so much just between a parent and their child and how similar their body types can end up being. Dietary habits are nuts. Like that's one of the things that Thist and I have in common is just, I mean, Thist, your story about, you know, having a bag of chips for the day's worth of food, you know, that's not terribly uncommon, you know, like that's,
Chips are delicious, by the way.
they are really good. And like, you know, to this day, I still would love to like have a bunch of snacks instead of a meal. And that's just, I know that's not right. I know I shouldn't do that. And once in a great while, I'll do that without realizing it because I'll just be grazing or whatever and not be thinking about like meal times, especially when like take the weekends, for example. The weekends are the worst, right? Because, you know, here we are doing our late night stream on a Friday night. And in this case, we're going to be on Azeroth Roundtable next. So reminder about that, everybody. We're switching over to that at the end of this hour. So that's going to be an even longer night, right? And then there's whatever we're doing after that. And, you know, that makes for a late night. That makes for getting up later the next day and that sort of thing. So it kind of throws your times off for the weekend. So it's not like you're waking up and it's like, oh, it's clearly, I don't know, 9 a.m. It's clearly breakfast time. Okay, now it's 12:30 or 1 o'clock. Now it's clearly lunchtime. It's not a structured day like a weekday. So that throws things off even further. You might just grab something and then not be thinking about it, and then you easily fall into that kind of trap. So to this day, I still struggle with this stuff. I try to catch myself on these things. I do a poor job of it. I know that, which is another reason why we kind of wanted to talk about this stuff, because it's something a lot of people struggle with, and, you know, us included.
Yeah, it's honestly, and I know this like is so cheesy at this point and trite, but like it is about lifestyle. It really, really is.
Absolutely.
Like, you can't just fucking decide to be Bowflex Brenda all of a sudden and get fucking really tanned and sweaty, you know? Like it's not gonna fucking like you're gonna drop like $700 on a fucking Bowflex, put it in your goddamn living room. You're not gonna fucking use it every day because that's not what you do every day, you know? I'm speeding up the story here a little bit, but I just want to. My friend, I have a friend who's on a weight loss journey, and he's been insanely inspiring. I won't say his name because he's kind of well known, but he's been like posting updates on
Smith?
Well, yeah, Kevin Smith, but he's not a personal friend of mine yet. But he's been sharing his story on like Twitter and Instagram and stuff, and you know, I've been asking him questions and stuff too, because like I too am on a weight loss journey. But I asked him like, what is it? Like, how are you, how, like, what
Yeah.
the fuck, you know? Cause he's really doing it.
Yeah.
And he said, it's about realizing what you can do and doing it. It's not like pick something that you can see yourself doing every day and do that. And it's like, I don't know, that never really occurred to me, because like it's always like go to the gym, you know, fucking pick up some weights and fucking lift the weights. And it's like I absolutely cannot see myself doing that every day. But what I can see myself doing is maybe going for a long walk around midnight, you know, where nobody can see me and it's in the dark, you know, and nobody can like be around to listen to me wheeze and stuff like that. And you know what? I don't see myself running. I don't like running. My boobs hit me in the fucking face. I don't like that. It's gross. It's weird. But I can walk really fast. I can do that, you know, and so I will do that. And, you know, occasionally I can, you know, pick up, I have a kettlebell, I have a stability ball and a yoga mat. I don't know why I do, but I do. And so I can use those occasionally. I know I can't see myself doing that every day because fuck, you know, but I can see myself doing that every once in a while. I have an elliptical machine that I bought in a burst of like passion about getting fit like 7 years ago or something. I'm not going to use that every day. Fucking no. But I'll use it occasionally because it's in my house and nobody can watch music, you know? So it's you know, it's not about just like all of a sudden joining the fucking gym, you know? It's about really talking to yourself and just saying like, what the fuck can I do that's, you know, relevant in my life that's going to, you know, sort of benefit the sort of person I am and the sort of lifestyle that I'm living. What can I do? And that's like great. That's kind of the exercise thing. It's like if you can see yourself doing that, then do it. And the part that I always get hung up on is that, you know, if I decide, okay, I'm going to walk around at midnight for 30 minutes every single night, why shouldn't I just walk around for an hour? Why should I just walk around when I could jog? You know, why don't I just do that? Because then everything would increase, like I'd see results faster, blah, 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 blah. That's where I always get myself. And then you set yourself up for fucking failure because you're not going to fucking do that. You're just guilting yourself into doing bullshit that you're not going to do, you know? Yeah. Like you have to be true to yourself and realize that like, you're not going to do this every day. When you do it, it's probably not going to be that much and you're probably not going to get that sweaty and you're not going to get that much out of it. But the point is you're fucking doing it. And if you didn't do it, it's like, well, you wouldn't have done it anyway, you know? So like, at least you're doing the bare minimum. And only then when you prove to yourself that you can do the bare minimum once in a while, then you start doing the bare minimum a lot. And then you start doing the bare minimum every day. And then you start pushing it a little, you know, because you're already doing it. But like, you can't start out because setting yourself up. That's when you get those sweet gains, bro. Yeah. But that's the thing about exercise. And like, trust me, I know. The last big weight gain I had was a few years ago. I gained 50 pounds because I got depressed. I got massive, wicked depression. And it wasn't even that I was eating a lot. It was just that I could not get out of bed. You know, like there was just, you know, fucking no, I'm not going to do anything. And a lot of my depression centered around me feeling guilty about not doing things. And so I know that I'm gaining all this weight and I know that there's nothing I can do about it, but I know that there's stuff that I should be doing about it, but I'm not gonna, you know? And it's fucking and so my therapist,
self-fulfilling prophecy.
Exactly. And you're just fucking depressed because you don't like the way you look. And my therapist is like, you know, you have to start working out because that actually does help you mentally. It will. But I'm like, okay, I'll just join the gym. I'll get a fucking trainer, blah, blah, blah. And she's like, no, start with your fucking elliptical in your living room and do 5 minutes a day. And I'm like, well, if I'm going to do 5, I may as well do an hour. And she's like, fucking no. Do a few minutes every day and that's it. And so I did. And then eventually, you know, I worked up to going to the gym. And the other thing at that point in my life, the first BlizzCon that I was ever going to was coming up. So I wanted to look better. So I hired a trainer. She was a very scary, small Polish woman who made me do planks and squats and all sorts of horrible things.
Did she yell at you?
She didn't yell at me, but she just got highly disappointed in me when I didn't do well.
Oh.
Terrifying. Her name was Romana.
Romana, the absolute unit.
She was tiny, but she was an absolute unit. And she had this like really long ponytail on the top of her head and it would like swing around all the time. I was terrified of her.
With it if you don't get in line, do what you say, she says.
Yeah, no, I tried so hard. But after that BlizzCon and after that whole episode, I ended up moving away from there and you know, a change of scenery, like I know I covered this in the depression episode, but like a change of scenery, a change of life, like just changing as much as you can sometimes gives you a fresh perspective on things. And that's when I started losing weight. I that was also when I was transitioning from vegetarian to vegan, and I don't want to tell anybody what to do with their diet habits, but I can tell you that being vegan, you automatically drop 15 pounds no matter what at some point, just because you're not eating stuff that makes you retain 15 pounds. But it also like limits you when you want to go like binge at some horrible restaurant or binge at some 7-Eleven at 3 a.m. or whatever. You can still binge at Taco Bell though, just saying. But yeah, so I was like,
Sweet, I love Taco Bell.
Yeah, I made the full transition. I sort of changed my life. And I think the biggest thing was that I had things in my life that were making me feel good about myself and giving me purpose and drive and a distraction, because I realized that like I was just binge eating food all of the time because I wanted to feel good. I wanted to feel better. And since I didn't necessarily feel sad, you know, like I wasn't realizing that I was just feeling sad and that I was using food to feel normal or better or a little bit happy, you know, like I'd be, you know, just chilling as usual every day, being depressed and anxious and whatever, and then I'll be like, oh, I'll just get some fucking Jimmy John's and I'll feel awesome, you know, and I'd feel awesome eating the fucking sandwich, and then it would be gone, and I'd be like, all right, I'm gonna follow that up with some ice cream, some candy or whatever, you know, and then I'd feel great, and then I'd feel full for a while, and then it would just happen again. Like you have to find stuff that makes you feel okay about yourself and feel happy, and that is not an easy task, but it is doable. Whew.
Yeah, it's a lot to even just go through. Let's take a quick break here and talk about this. These are the poll results, so thanks everybody for participating in that. 73% of you cook for yourselves, 20% of you have roommates or friends that cook, and 7% of you have your parents who cook. So, you know, probably a slightly older, at least more adult crowd, which is good, because we talk about some pretty adult shit here, so I hope there's not too many on
Adult shit?
But I was just curious because, you know, that's part of what we were talking about. And back to Chris's comment about all the different things that play a role in all of this. I can't cook for shit. I have zero interest in learning. I hate doing it. I hate looking up recipes. I hate going to the grocery store and getting like tons and tons of ingredients for things. I hate the whole process of going and getting it and looking it up and getting it and bringing it home and putting it all away, and then like either cooking something for that day or coming back to it later and remembering what the fuck I wanted all those things for. I hate coming back after a long day of work and thinking like, oh, okay, now I have to prepare a whole meal, and that sort of thing. So that just plays right into the horrible eating habits that I have. I'd rather buy something or use an old standby that's easy but probably bad for me, but because it's fast and it's fulfilling, versus something where I have to like make an effort. I just hate that so much. And like, again, another limitation. I'm not vegan, but I'm vegetarian, and there's limitations with that. So I can't even use one of those like services where they have the pre-made meals or whatever. I forget. There's like 10 of them now. I forget how many. Blue Plate Special, I think, is the one for geriatrics. But all of those different services like exist now where you can get that stuff. But even those, like, I don't know. I just hate cooking.
I know.
Doesn't help things.
So do I. I don't want to do it. I just want to eat. I don't want to cook. Fuck. Like I don't give a shit how good something would taste. I just want to put something in my food hole. Put it in my food hole now.
Yeah, like
Fuck.
Milwaukee in chat. He's like, Jesus, I can barely make toast, and all these motherfuckers out here like Betty Crocker.
But yeah, and a lot of that is like trial and error. Like I've been trialing and erroring, because I know with going along with the whole like working out thing and finding what works for you, you also have to kind of figure out what you can eat and what's going to satisfy you and what's going to prevent you from like binging on other bullshit, and like I've tried everything, like I'm your typical like Whole Foods worshipping vegan, and like I'm going there and I'm trying all these new things and like hoping, I'm looking for the new Doritos, because like I can fucking sit down and like demolish a bag of Doritos or Miss Vicky's or what have you, no problem. I'll finish that whole fucking bag. I'll feel great about my life. It'll be great. It's delicious.
Yeah.
It's a good snack for like playing games and eating at the same time, fucking yes. And like, and I recognize that I'm a grazer and I always have been, and that's not gonna fucking change overnight, if ever, you know? So I need to find something that I can put on my desk to eat while I play games, because that's just what I'm gonna do.
And while you watch YouTube.
Oh yeah, exactly. And I've gone through like so many different iterations of the new Doritos, you know, and at last, like I finally like maybe like 50% of my diet these days is not fucking, but eating cashews, but just not the raw ones because they taste weird to me, but they're roasted, so I know they're not like ultra healthy, but they're not salted either, you know. They're just roasted cashews. And I'm bringing this up because I found like you can eat a few handfuls of those things and you're just fucking like full as fuck, and you also hate life. You're just like, those are tasty for like 5 seconds and now I hate them so much. But then, you know, you wait like 15 minutes and you're like, oh shit, yeah, fucking cashews, and you're just eating that shit, you know. So like I like to keep those next to my desk. Also, like microwave popcorn that's in the bags. I know that's like less healthy than like the kind you have to pop, but like you're not gonna fucking stand at the oven and fucking pop all those goddamn kernels. Like that's stupid. You just use the fucking microwave. So try to find ones with like no butter and no salt as best you can. Because there's that. Because like one little package of that makes like an entire fucking bowl of popcorn. You can sprinkle some fucking whatever on top. That's fine. But basically, I guess for me personally, it's less about like quality and more about quantity. It's like if I have a fucking giant bowl of popcorn, I feel good about life, you know? It's like I've got this whole bowl for me and it's all mine and I can eat it. It's going to take like 20 minutes to eat maybe. And like, I feel good about that. I don't want to get a snack that's going to be like, I have one carrot and I'm going to eat it, you know, and then you eat it and it's fucking gone. No, I want a whole fucking bag.
I don't even want a whole bag of carrots, if I'm being honest.
Yeah. So
again, part of the problem here. These are not good things, guys. I'm not purporting any of this shit that I'm saying. I'm giving you all the examples of what not to do. I'm in bad shape. I'm a fat ass. Don't fucking do it, you guys. I'm not purporting this stuff. Not good. But I feel you on the popcorn. The smart food popcorn is my favorite right now. I've been on the smart food kick for ages, and that tells me that it's probably bad for you.
It is bad for you, actually. But then there's another thing. It's like if you're gonna like suddenly change your diet and your life, you have to recognize that there are some things in your life that you're not gonna want to give up. And if you do give them up, you're gonna just be hating yourself and not gonna want to do it at all. So you need to figure out what your vices are, and then either try to fit those vices in and make up for it with like exercise or just like eating better or whatever, or like maybe indulging in your vice on the weekends or something like that instead. Yeah. But you have to identify that, because like if you get rid of it, you're going to be upset. And like if you're already planning on changing your whole life and your lifestyle, like you've got to have something to look forward to. And for me, that's definitely these fucking things. Like I'm absolutely addicted to Monster. Luckily, they're like 0 calorie, 0 sugar, thank God. But
they got plenty of the other shit that is bad for you that you shouldn't be having. Of course, we know that. Right. But in terms of bad things, there could be much worse things, at least, you know?
It's fine. But like, I don't limit myself on those. Like, I know it's probably going to kill me, fucking heart palpitations, headaches, bullshit, whatever. But like, I need something, you know? Like, if I'm having like a lousy, tiny little dinner and eating my nuts as snacks and pretending I'm okay with it, at least I can drink my Monster and be happy, you know?
Yeah.
Like, at least there's that. And like, sometimes I can have Starbucks if I want. And I don't know, sometimes I can eat, I don't even know what I like anymore, honestly. But I think I attribute a lot of my weight loss recently to portion size. I never really thought about that before. Like if you have like, you know, you buy a fucking plate at Target, it's like the size of your fucking head, right? And so you're like, okay, this is the plate size. This is the size of the standard plate. Therefore, the food that goes on it should fill the plate, you know?
Right,
like but it's just the way it is. And then like if you grab a smaller plate, you're like, this is a snack plate, you know, like this is where my snack goes. And this plate is where all of my food goes, you know? And it's just, you gotta kind of...
That's so hard. You know, and it's so dumb too, because it, you know, if I get a gigantic meal, I don't like it's like I have to make a conscious effort to like bring it home or whatever, like cut it in half and leave the other half downstairs in the kitchen, not even bring it with me, which you never do. You always bring the whole thing. If you've got a pizza or whatever, like that might be different because that's a bigger thing that needs a space. But like if you get a foot long, even a Subway sandwich, if you get a foot long sandwich, you don't like leave half of it downstairs, you bring the whole thing, right? But then you're like, you have that whole thing in front of you and you're just like mindlessly watching something or whatever, listening to some bullshit streamers talk about God knows what, just chomping down, and then suddenly the whole thing's gone, right? But all of the times when I've made a concerted effort to cut down on those portion sizes, I never regret it. I never feel like, oh my God, I'm starving because I've cut down on my portion size. It's never that. It's always that all of the too big portion sizes I'm having are overfilling me to begin with all the time.
Yeah.
Never hungry without that. If it was my thing to get a foot long from Subway once a week on Wednesdays, and I just suddenly started doing half of that to like a 6-inch. This is not my thing, so it's not a good example. But if I were to just get a 6-inch instead, that's the easiest example I've had before because I don't want footlongs from there anymore. When I do get a Subway sandwich now, it's just I don't even bother because I'm like, I just don't want the whole thing.
Yep.
So there's a good thing. Like that's a development. That's a smaller thing. But the psychology of it is exactly what you're saying. Like you're not even thinking in those terms. You look at that plate and that plate looks too small.
Yep.
That's nuts. Like it's not.
It's weird. It's like that part is mental, you know?
You just don't need all that food.
No, and you do not need to eat until you are like tired and
I know.
bloated and stuffed.
And why
you know?
do
And like
I?
Because like that's what we've always done. It's just like, oh, it's pizza night. I'm fucking 10 years old. It's fucking pizza night. It's time to party. I'm going to eat as many slices as I possibly can until I burst because we're having a good time, you know? Like
Yep.
food is usually associated with good times, and like being fucking full is like, yeah, it's fucking Thanksgiving. Hell yeah, you know?
Yep. And like Daz just said in chat, it doesn't help that when I was growing up, if you didn't finish all the food on your plate at the dinner table, your parents would tell you that there were starving kids in Africa that could benefit from the food. You were guilted into eating too much. That was absolutely a piece of it for me as well.
Yeah.
Because, portion sizes weren't really set for that stuff either. I mean, again, it's like, this is what I'm terrified about ever being a parent someday, because there's so many different ways you can fuck your kids over. Like,
Yeah.
how the fuck can you set the right example when it's so hard? Especially when I'm sitting here saying how bad I am as an example for myself.
Yeah, it's hard. Like, this is another one of those stupid adult things that nobody like really tells you about until it's too late.
Yeah.
But I don't know. That all being said, like, ultimately, just like if you're struggling with weight issues or body issues or eating issues or exercise issues, it's not so black and white as everybody make it seem, and starting a better lifestyle and indulging in a better lifestyle is easier for some people than others. And like I said, there's fucking variables, like a vast universe of them. Like, some people don't have the fucking money to buy running shoes, for example, or some people don't have enough money. Like, if you're very poor, which I have been, it's almost impossible to eat healthy because you can't fucking afford it. You know what you can afford? Ramen noodles. Fucking yeah. And like, no, you're not gonna spend the last bit of your paycheck on some fresh, delicious veggies, to make a fucking salad. No, you're gonna fucking buy whatever's on sale, and it's probably full of calories, and you don't care because you just need something to fill you fucking up because you're poor and you don't have any fucking food. I've been there. Fucking sucks. It's like, oh, sweet. Fucking saltine crackers are on fucking sale for $1 and there's a whole box of them. Fuck yeah, I'm gonna eat all that shit. It's like that.
Yeah.
So basically, you just kind of have to come to terms with things and try to figure out what avenue is best for you. And it's not easy. Like, I'm actively losing weight right now, but I'm so out of sorts, it's weird. It's something that I'm thinking about constantly. It's something that I'm guilting myself into doing all of the time. And if I don't do it, I feel shitty about myself. And it's one of those things where it's like, if I get a workout in and I eat well that day, I can look at myself in the full-length mirror and be like, you're looking awesome today. Good job. But if I don't do that, the very next day when literally nothing has changed, I'll look at myself with a different perspective and be like, you're fucking gross.
Yeah.
What have you done? Fuck you, you know? And it's awful.
Yeah.
But like, that all being said, nobody, probably hardly anybody, is satisfied with what they see in the mirror. And it's just
True.
the real-time story. Like, no human is perfect. Like, everybody's gross. And even if like somebody looks perfect from the outside, there's probably some gross going on the inside or under the clothes or whatever. Or maybe there isn't, but they think that there is. Like, there's like this perceived sort of like, I'm disgusting kind of thing. And the fact is, like, most people will look at you out in the world and not think twice about the way you look, you know?
Yeah.
Really. Like, I was walking around in Manhattan this morning and like...
Except me, I judge everybody.
Well, we all know you love to judge people. But like, nobody's
Kidding.
really fucking looking
I hope you
at
know I'm
you.
kidding.
Like, nobody's walking past you on the street going like, oh, wow, you're not attractive. You know, like, it's not people like...
Well, some people are, but they're in the extreme minority.
Extreme minority. It's mostly just internal, you know? It's like you walk past your own reflection in a shop window and you're like, oh, ugh, it looks sick. Ugh, you know? But somebody walking past looking at you, they're probably like, oh, I like her hair. I like her.
If they think
her
about
boots.
you at all.
If they think about you at all. And then, so I guess like to sort of summarize all of this, you have to figure out a way to like yourself enough to start moving forward in a direction that's going to help you. And that is the hard part. I don't know. I have no idea how to get to that point. I know that, you know, motivations like BlizzCon, I know a lot of people in our community use BlizzCon as sort of motivation or an excuse to start at least eating better, you know, or trying to eat better or trying to work out occasionally or whatever. But to truly like yourself enough to help yourself out is very difficult. And I know that it is. And I don't have any answers for that either. But what I do know is once you figure out, like my friend said, what you can see yourself doing every day, or at least every other day, and you start doing it, do that. Give it a week or two. Allow yourself days where you just don't do anything. You just fall off the wagon. Get back on. It's okay. And just give it a week or two and then see how you feel about yourself. Because you're going to look back and be like, okay, last week I exercised like 3 days out of the week. That's not great, but I fucking did it and I wouldn't have done it otherwise. So maybe this week I'll shoot for 4 days, maybe, you know? And just because it's you're starting slow and then you get to the bigger picture. But like there's absolutely no way that you can just drop all your shit and start going to the fucking gym if that's not what you do every day. So
unless you find like there are some things that like, and it's different for every person, right? But like there are some things where you can motivate yourself whether you like it or not, right? Some people post all their progress online. Like some people's Facebook stream or whatever else, Instagram, whatever it is just constantly, here's my workout photo from the day. You know what I love? Frazzly.
Oh, hell yeah.
Fucking Frazzly, man. Frazzly is the fucking shit. That guy, not only is like one of the nicest human beings in the freaking world, but he also posts in our Discord selfie channel every single day on his walk. He walks to go get coffee, so there's a little treat at the end, right? And then he walks back with that treat in hand. He stops and takes a selfie every fucking day. He posts it every fucking day. And it's inspiring. We love seeing that in here. Every time he posts that in our selfie channel, everybody goes wild.
I love it.
Right. And then, you know, he dances on the side because there you go. There's the perfect example. He loves dancing, and what a fucking great workout, right? He's not necessarily trying to do this stuff for working out. I'm not sure if he is or not. But the point is, he found something that works for him. And I don't know if the posting it online part has anything to do with self-motivation, but a lot of people use it for that.
Yeah. He said that it helps him keep accountable because I talked to him about it like when I started trying to work out every day. And I have been. And I tried to post every day, like what was going on. I got kind of tired of it. And I felt like people didn't want to see it. But like, that was his advice, you know, like just try to keep yourself accountable. Use social media. Like, why not? And that is a really, really good way to do it because you do feel, you're like, oh, if I don't fucking work out, then I can't post a picture of it online, and then people might say like, why aren't you working out? And then I'll feel bad about myself, and it'll be like somebody other than myself like sort of telling me what to do, which helps sometimes. I don't know, guys.
Yeah.
It's hard. And then
It's harder there for pimp.
totally. And then all that aside, like you don't have to look a certain way at all. You know, like this isn't us telling you that you need to lose weight. This isn't us telling you that we think that people should be a certain weight or work out or eat healthy. I don't fucking care, you know? Like I don't. It's all up to how you feel about yourself and how you want to look and how you want to feel. And like we don't judge here. I could care less what weight anybody is. I really don't care.
That's good because I'm fat as hell.
That's fine. But it just matters about how you feel about yourself. And if you're struggling with that, then you know there's a lot of pretty much everybody is. So there's a lot of help out there for you. And if you're happy with the way you are and you're content with the way you are, then fucking own that, because that is what people want more than anything. You know, like if we could just decide to be okay with what we've got all of a sudden, I think a lot of people would choose that over like deciding to get super fit and healthy, you know?
It's
Just fucking appreciate yourself.
Yeah. And, you know, if you are trying to do something health related in particular, you know, seek out the people who are going to help keep that in your face. Something like also on our Discord. I'm sorry, I keep pimping our Discord, but it's an awesome place. You should be there if you're not already. Most of you are here in chat already are. That's awesome. But we have the Swolinka Fitness channel. Like, get up in there, get Swolinka'd. Like, it's honestly a place I need to spend more time in, because these guys inspire each other. They keep each other accountable. They're constantly inspiring each other and keeping each other going. It's fucking awesome.
Yeah, praise Swolinka.
Praise him or else.
Anyway, so I think that'll be a show. Just again, for anybody joining us, this is not the LB podcast. This is the LB stream. We don't talk about Blizzard games on Twitch. We talk about that. That's audio only. That's a completely separate thing. This is just us hanging out with you guys on Fridays. But we're ending a little early tonight because we're actually going to be on Azeroth Roundtable right after this. I was thinking, should I change my shirt? Like, should I, you know, be like going on a different show? Should I like switch it up? I probably won't because I'm lazy, but
no, you're fine.
I don't know. But we're literally
we need continuity here, so we can, because we're gonna we're gonna raid from this channel right over there, right? So everybody's gonna go over. They're not gonna see us the whole time, but the whole chat is gonna move from here over to there because we're gonna raid over to their channel anyway.
Yeah, but that's gonna be happening soon, so we're super stoked for that. We haven't been on Azeroth Roundtable since 420. And I remember that.
Yeah!
Surprisingly, I remember that specifically. I believe I was wearing a titties hat the last time.
Yep.
Yeah.
Maybe you should grab that hat for this time.
I'm not wearing that hat again.
There can be.
I should though. It's good shit.
Can I wear it? Come on, give me the hat.
You can't have a hat. That's my hat.
Hey, Lance.
Just asking Ben if he's alright. Okay.
Yep, they're ready for us. I messaged them.
Yeah, so we're gonna go over there and talk about WoW. But you guys, if you want to continue this conversation, please do join our Discord or send us an email or whatever. If you want to say something to us privately, you can always email us at laggingballs@gmail.com and tell us not to read this email on air or keep it anonymous. If you want to talk to us about anything that you heard tonight or anything at all, we're down for that. An episode of Lagging Balls proper, which is about Blizzard games, is coming out this weekend at some point, so stay tuned for that. And thank you guys for joining us, and we will see you over at Azeroth Roundtable for lots of sexual tension.
Yeah, we sure will. I don't think they're on air yet, but we'll see you over there anyway.
All right.
Sorry, that's what I was checking on. Bring it on back, Wicked. What are we gonna say?
I don't know.
Booty.
Oh, sure.
It's booty.
If they're even there, I don't know.
You do it in chat.